Today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this beautiful stitch. It has this fantastic texture on the front and the back is nice and flat. It's a very easy 2-row repeat which works up quite quickly. It looks absolutely beautiful in a variegated yarn as I have used for my sample here, but looks equally fantastic in a plain solid colour as well. To begin, pop a slip knot onto your hook. Now the pattern multiple for this stitch is nice and simple. It's just 2. So all that means is you're going to chain in multiples of 2, 2, 2 until your project is the width that you want it to be. Once you have your chains, for the very first row, it's just a setup row, and we're going to start by working into the second chain from our hooks. This loop on your hook does not count as anything. You only want to count these fully formed chains hanging down below. So 1, 2, and into that second chain, we're going to work a single crochet. Then single crochet into every single chain all the way along this row. Row 2 is the first of the 2 pattern repeat rows, and we're going to start by chaining 1 and turning our work. Now that chain 1 does not count as anything, so we can ignore it completely, and you want to find the single crochet where you just chained from and work 1 single crochet into the top of that stitch. Now rotate your work slightly so you can see the V's, these little loops of the top of your stitches from the row below. We have a back loop and a front loop. This is the front loop and this is the back loop. Now normally, and like we just did in that first stitch, we work under both loops of the stitch. However, for this row, we're going to be working into the front loop only. So you only want to pick up the front loop of these V's. So the loop that is facing you as you're working. And we're going to work single crochets into the front loop only for all the stitches in this row apart from the very last one. So under the front loop only, work your single crochets. Front loop only, single crochet. Work your single crochets into the front loop only, this loop that is the one you can see when you are working. So we're leaving that back loop unworked, which leaves this little ridge along the front. Keep doing this until you have 1 stitch remaining. So I've worked my way across, working single crochets into the front loop only, and I have 1 stitch remaining. Into this very last stitch, working under both loops, work a single crochet. So we start with a single crochet worked under both loops, then single crochet into the front loop only until that last stitch where we work the final single crochet under both loops. For row 3 is the second of these 2 repeat rows. So we're going to chain 1, which again does not count as anything, and turn our work. Now into that same single crochet that we just chained from, working under both loops, work a single crochet. You will work a single crochet under both loops of the stitch below at the start of every single row. Now we're going to be working into these unworked loops. So these little ridges, these are the loops, the back loops of the stitches where we worked our single crochet stitches into. So we're working into the unworked loop of the stitch 2 rows down. This is the row we just made. This is the row we're working into, to these little loops here. So into this exposed front loop, you'll see you don't have one for the first stitch. It should be nice and flat. So you want to find that first ridge, which will be 2 stitches across, 1, 2, and into that unworked loop is where we're going to work a double crochet 2 together. So we're going to yarn over, pick up that loop, so you'll just have the 1 loop on your hook, yarn over and pull through. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and then stop. We're not going to complete that double crochet stitch. Instead, we're going to start a second one. So yarn over, go back underneath that front loop again, yarn over, pull the yarn back through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops only. Then stop. You'll have 2 half finished double crochet stitches hanging from your hook and 3 loops on your hook. To complete this double crochet 2 together, we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Then into the next stitch, working under both loops of the stitch on the row immediately below you. So we're not reaching down into that second row, we're just working into the top of the next stitch of the row below. Work 1 single crochet under both loops. You'll be leaving the stitch behind your double crochet 2 together, left unworked. We're going to work another double crochet 2 together into the front loop. Ignore this one because we have just worked a single crochet above it. So find the next stitch and the front loop below it. And again, we yarn over, find the next stitch, find the loop below it, and working under that free edge, pop your hook, yarn over, draw up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and then stop. Then begin again, yarn over, go underneath that same loop, yarn over, come back through, yarn over, pull through 2, stop. When you have 2 half finished double crochets hanging from your hook and 3 loops on your hook, bring them together by yarning over and pulling through all 3 loops. Then into the next stitch, work a single crochet under both loops. Again, double crochet 2 together into that exposed loop below the next stitch. So we're always skipping one of these little loops. So skip one into the next, work a double crochet 2 together. Then single crochet under both loops of the next stitch. We're going to work this all the way along until we have run out of these little ridged unworked loops to work into. Double crochet 2 together into that exposed front loop below the next stitch. Then single crochet under both loops of the following stitch. So we're going to be repeating rows 2 and 3 over and over until your project is the length that you want it to be. I'll recap those rows a couple of times for you, so don't panic, I'm not leaving immediately. So to recap, row 2, we chain 1, turn our work, and work a single crochet under both loops of that first stitch. Then we work into the front loop only of all the stitches until you get to the very last one, and into the front loops only of the next stitches we work a single crochet. So I'm just picking up that front loop only and working a single crochet. Your very last single crochet of the row will be worked under both loops. So for my very last single crochet of the row, work under both loops. Then to repeat row 3, we chain 1, turn our work, and into that very first stitch, work a single crochet under both loops. Now we're going to be working into these unworked loops again. However, this time round, they're a bit more easy to spot. So we're going to be working our double crochet 2 togethers into the top of the exposed loop at the top of the double crochet 2 together from the row 2 rows below. So we're going to work our double crochet 2 together underneath that exposed loop, sitting right on top of the double crochet 2 togethers from the rows further down, so 2 rows down, and we're going to work our new double crochet 2 together stitches. Then single crochet under both loops of the next stitch directly next to you. So we work our double crochet 2 togethers down into the top of the double crochet 2 togethers from the row 2 rows below, and we work our single crochets into the stitch just on the row below. So we're working into a row 2 below and then 1 below, 2 below, 1 below. So we'll always be skipping one of these loops in the front. So we skip this one and we work into the next. Double crochet 2 together into that front loop. Then single crochet into the next stitch. So your double crochet 2s togethers will be stacking on top of each other. Work this all the way along until you run out of these double crochet 2 together loops to work into. So I'm working my last double crochet 2 together into the top of the last double crochet 2 together on the row 2 rows below, and to end with a single crochet under both loops of that last stitch. Now I'm going to change colour in this stitch, so when we do the next recap of those 2 rows, you'll be able to spot really clearly where I am working in case you still had any slight confusion at this stage. So to change colour, I'm not going to complete the final yarn over and pull through 2 to finish my single crochet. Instead, I'm going to bring in my new colour. I'm going to loop it, leaving nice long tail for weaving in, over my hook and pull it through those 2 loops to complete my single crochet. I'm then going to trim off the yellow because I'm done with that colour. And we can do a really quick recap of rows 2 and 3 one more time. So we're going to chain 1, turn our work a single crochet under both loops of that very first stitch, and then working into the front loop only of all the stitches apart from the very last one, front loop only, working a single crochet. Into that very last stitch of this row, we work our final single crochet under both loops. This is my final single crochet and I'm working it under both loops of that stitch. Then for the second row of this 2-row repeat pattern, we chain 1, turn our work, chain 1 does not count, and work that first single crochet under both loops of that first stitch. Now you can see here my yellow exposed unworked loops, that little ridge. Then into the top of the double crochet 2 together from the row 2 rows below into that unworked loop, we work our new double crochet 2 together. Then in the next stitch, working under both loops, work a single crochet. Then into the top of the next double crochet 2 together on that row 2 rows back, we work a new one into that unworked loop. Then into the next stitch, work a single crochet. So we're leaving 1 stitch unworked behind the double crochet 2 togethers. So repeat this all the way across the row until you've run out of double crochet 2 togethers to work into the top of. So always picking up that unworked loop to work our new double crochet 2 togethers into. Then into the very last stitch of the row, once we have run out of these double crochet 2 togethers to work into, we end with a single crochet under both loops of that last stitch. So you would keep repeating those 2 rows over and over again until your project is the length that you want it to be. Once you have made your very final stitch and your project is complete to finish, you're simply going to chain 1, cut your yarn, leaving a nice long tail for weaving in, pull that through, up, tight, and you're done. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please do let me know what you think of this stitch down in the comments. And until next time, happy crocheting. Bye!